What's going on, guys? I'm Dan from Team iStrike Fishing, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to rig soft plastic swim baits on our Texas side jig heads. There you go, a big proper redfish. That iStrike is getting it done. All right, this is the Texas Eye by iStrike Fishing. Now, I do want you guys to know that it is packaged and distributed by Z-Man Fishing Products, but just do know that this is an iStrike fishing jig. Now, this jig does come in 3 different sizes. It comes in a finesse eye, which is a little bit smaller than this, and a 1/0 hook. That 1/0 hook pairs perfectly with a 2-inch bait, and you can really use that thing to target pickier fish or in a more finesse style mode where you're just wanting to grab the fish's attention for a small meal. Now, if you're wanting to do normal inshore fishing, this is the Texas Eye Original. This is a 3/0 hook size here. It pairs perfectly with 3-inch and 4-inch baits, and it can be used to catch just about anything inshore, to include redfish, flounder, trout, and black drum. Now, if you're wanting to step it up and throw a larger bait profile, the Tex XL is the big brother to this one. It's a 5/0 hook size, and it pairs very well with 6-inch baits. Now, that is a lure that you're going to use to target some very big fish, and the weight options on the Tex XL does go higher than the original as well as the finesse. But if you're looking to stick with just the original, you can throw it in an 1/8 ounce, 3/16, or quarter. And what you're looking at here is a 3/16. This 3/16 ounce weight is perfect for throwing in anywhere from 1 to 5 feet of water. If you're throwing shallower than 1 foot of water, I highly recommend going with the 1/8 ounce. And if you want to throw heavier, definitely step it up to that 1/4 ounce, because staying in contact with the bottom is key to catching fish. So as far as the hook goes, it's a high quality VMC hook, extremely sharp point here. It's got a really nice barb that helps keep the fish pinned to the hook. Coming on down around the bend here is the keeper. You'll see there is a lead poured and lead molded keeper. This is something different than a lot of other companies. This little extra keeper right here really keeps your bait up in place right here at that chin. A lot of your offset worm hooks don't have that, and you probably notice that your lure is slipping down quite often, so it makes you kind of readjust your lure every couple casts. With this keeper, you don't have that issue at all. Now, when it comes to the head, this head is extremely lifelike, you guys. The eyeball on this thing is what makes iStrike fishing so popular, and honestly what makes them so dangerous. The fish realistically think this is a bait due to the lifelike image of that eye. That eye does come in multiple colors, everything from pearl to this chrome looking color here. They got a glow in the dark color, they got a red eye, a gold eye, a chartreuse eye. Really any type of bait fish or profile that you're trying to imitate, iStrike has an eye that will mimic that exact profile. Not to mention this head here, the way it's hinged articulates very, very well. And there's a lot of movement, you guys. This thing really comes to life. There's a couple different ways that you can swim these baits as well to really get the fish's attention. You can just straight retrieve it, where you throw it straight out and crank it back. And with the paddle tails that you use on these, it will wobble quite a bit and bring this thing to life. And not to mention, if you pair this jig head with any type of a soft plastic that is naturally buoyant, as it stops and you dead stick it, that hook is going to articulate up, and it's going to put that hook up in the strike zone. So now when the fish goes to eat, that hook point is pointing straight up in the air, as opposed to laying down on its side if you use baits that aren't naturally buoyant. All right, so next we're going to rig this thing up. Now, as far as the bait profile goes, I like to use the 3-inch and the 4-inch Z-Man minnows. Now, this 4-inch product here happens to be called the Diesel minnow. The Diesel minnow is 1 inch longer than the minnows, and it also has that belly slit right there. That belly slit will allow you to have a little better hook penetration when the fish does bite it, due to the fact of that wire riding inside that hook there. If you use the 3-inch bait from Z-Man, the Minnow Z, it's not going to have this body cavity right here, and it's going to make the hook set a little bit more difficult. Although it's not impossible, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. So I do recommend to use the 4-inch Diesel minnow with the iStrike Texas Eye. Now, as far as rigging these things up, it's not very difficult, you guys. Just take the hook point, push right into the center of the bait. As soon as you see that barb dive into the material of the bait, go ahead and turn and come right out the bottom just like that. If you see here, I'm only into this body about a half of an inch. I'm not going all the way to where the beginning of this slit is. I'm going a half inch. If you go all the way to the body, you're gonna put too much material up into the chin of this hook here, and it's gonna really kill a lot of that action. So again, just try to make sure you go in a half of an inch. And then at this point, you just work it up and around the hook. This is the keeper here. You just work it around that keeper. It'll snap up and over, and this thing right here will absolutely hold in place. Now, this is why it's important to use Z-Man materials or materials that do have a little bit of a stretch property, because it allows you to pull it up and over that keeper. If you're using some normal products like maybe DOA or Gulp products or whatnot that don't have any elastic properties, right here at this keeper is where you're gonna bust the head of this bait out, and it's just not gonna work. So once you get it rigged up and over like that, just get an idea for where the hook is gonna push through the body and where it's gonna index out of the bait. You can take your thumb and make a little mark like that. But what I do is, I've done it for so many times, I just kind of bend the lure in half. I push right up through the middle. I come right in between those two dorsal fins like that, and that thing is rigged and ready to go. Now, if you do see, Z-Man does mold in some little dorsal fins right here, and those dorsals are really good at keeping that hook hidden, which ultimately keeps this thing weedless. So that's exactly how you rig a Texas eye.